get set. Where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? See,
Rather than taking my news story approach I like to do a lot of times on this channel, I thought I would talk about why I teach what I teach and why I put things together the way that I do. And I want to do this in as little time as possible. Basically, what I teach is mostly Taekwondo with cross-training in Judo and exposure to Western boxing, pressure points, and just sprinkles of anything else that I've happened to study. But why do I do that? Why not just teach Taekwondo or just teach Judo? Those are the two main styles. Or abandon the two main styles and get a coaching certification in boxing and just teach that. Well, it's a bunch of reasons. When people try to fight you, a lot of times they try to hit you. That's where the Taekwondo comes in. People try to punch you, people try to kick you. Now, the Taekwondo to me is not that it's not effective. It is that it is extremely effective. You don't want to always respond to everything with a super head kick or with a really hard one shot, one kill, let's take them out punch. Because not everything is combat, not everything is contest. There are different levels of force. And to me, if you come from a strictly percussive, to just a strictly hit, punch, hit background that's really hard and rigid, when you're under stress, you're stressed out, you get freaked out, you're going to tend to respond with what you're used to, what you feel comfortable with. And if you feel comfortable with this, that's what you're going to default to. And you have to stop yourself from going to that bag. Now, this is not true of all of them, but to me, a lot of Taekwondoans and karate people tend to be a little stiff. So that's why I'm glad I took some boxing and I add some of that in there. Because the head movement from boxing is useful. Not just in terms of you being able to fake people out when you're sparring them or fighting them in a consensual fight, but so that if somebody attacks you from behind, you have that slip motion in there. I've seen a lot of people that don't know how to duck, especially when we're talking about little kids. Now, it's not just because they're toddlers. I think that there's just some people who don't know how to duck. And there are also people who have what's called neuropraxia, where they get their signals mixed up. Here's a perfect example. If I tell some people that I'm going to hit them on this side, and I say, don't let me touch your face on this side, stop me from touching you, when I come here, they will lift this hand to block it. And maybe it's about 10% of the people out there that I deal with, maybe less, maybe 1 in 20. So maybe 5%. But that's still a lot of people. It's a lot of people that need to know to get in touch or how to get in touch with their body. And that's where your formal forms and things of that nature come in. Your forms to get you talking to your body in a striking way. And some of the drills from boxing will get you talking to your body in a more relaxed way. But I don't just do things from the striking side of the house. I also have judo in there, which is from the grappling side of the house. Because, like I said, you don't always want to grab. You want to feel comfortable fighting on the ground if you fall on the ground. You want to be able to throw somebody if you feel like you need to throw them. You also need to know how to roll and how to fall in case you're walking and you slip on some ice, somebody knocks you down, you've got the reflex to tuck your chin and pick your head up off the ground if it ever comes to that. Now, the interesting thing about yes, we know that judo and grappling will help you be able to fight on the ground is this. The way that you would actually fight on the ground with grappling, even though grappling prepares you for ground fighting, is not necessarily the best way to fight on the ground in combat or self-defense. If you're on the ground in a real self-defense situation, in my opinion, you should be trying to get the person off you, or you should be striking at them while they're trying to grab you. Now, that's one problem with grappling, but really with any style, is that a stylist usually trains against a stylist in their own style. So if you're primarily grappling, that's what you know how to defend yourself against. If you're primarily striking, that's what you tend to know how to defend yourself against. That's why I really like it. I probably shouldn't say this on camera. I like it when I have people using complementary styles going against each other. And people who want to grapple too much try to grapple from the wrong range. So they come at somebody like a zombie and they get punched in the face. You have to know your ranges of combat so that you're not trying to grapple or grab someone from kicking distance. Same thing as people who always want to hit all the time. They get up close, they can't get their kicks off, and they don't know to switch to knees to elbows. Or they're even too close for that. Or their leg gets grabbed. What are you going to do when you're going against someone who is not in your style, who is not in your element, who is not in your combat sport or your martial art? They're going to do unpredictable things. They're going to do those foul things. And that's where mixing it up with judo and taekwondo with some sprinkles of boxing can get you to go and fill in the quote-unquote holes that the other style has. So you'll have a chance to work with kicking. You have a chance to work against punching. You have a chance to work against grappling. And a lot of times, when people that have been with me long enough have seen me do this, when we do ground fighting, sometimes I will say, okay, I want this person to be able to punch and kick on the ground in addition to just grappling. This other person just grapples. Let me see what you do. Because there's another element to why I like to have judo added into the mix. Because sometimes you have to diffuse a situation. You have to stop a violent situation. Someone is trying to hurt you, but you're not allowed to hit them. That's not just for bouncers anymore. You could be a school teacher. You could be a parent restraining your child. You could be someone having to restrain someone that's suffering from mental illness. You could have to restrain someone who's having a psychotic episode because of something they smoked or something they drank. There's a story I've told on this channel of how it took 5 of us to restrain a girl who was just drinking. She knew Taekwondo. The other 4 people didn't. I did. But how did I get her down? Once I got her down from using Taekwondo, I had to go into a Taekwondo judo hybrid. It just came out. I blocked, and then I had to grab her leg to take her down and hold her down. Now, the thing is, I had actually taken judo as a toddler, but I didn't remember that I took it until I saw that teacher when I was an adult. So just the one style punchy, kicky thing, that wouldn't have went over well. What do you think would have happened to me if I roundhouse kicked a white girl in the head, even though she was knocking everybody else on the ground, literally? And I know you don't believe it because of your little narrow minds. You really don't think it's possible that a girl who is stoned or drunk out of her mind can use kicks to incapacitate males that are bigger than her. She can if she does the kick drill on 4 people in 4 directions and hits them all in the jewels, because that's exactly what happened. I was there, so you can't tell me I'm fantasizing it. Sometimes I kid and say that's probably where they got that scene in Street Fighter 2 from her, because the assassin even looks like the girl that I'm talking about. But my point is, there's situations where you have to deal with violence and you can't hit. There are situations where you have to deal with violence and you need to hit. There are situations where you need to grapple with the person, but you have to be competent enough in handling strikes so that they don't knock you out before you get your hold or your pin in. And that's why I put together what I put together. For regular civilians who have to deal with a wide range of things. And I'm going to close with this because the story is starting to get kind of long. The only thing that I don't get a chance to drill with enough is the knife. That's because right now I have beginner students. If you come to my class and you don't know anything about martial arts, you probably think that the green belts are my advanced students. They're not. I don't have any advanced students at this time. Green belts are still beginners. They're just advanced beginners. Okay? When they get to be a little more seasoned, we're going to throw a knife in the mix, just like we used to when we had some more advanced people in there. Somebody's got a knife. What are you going to do? Do I want you getting into a knife fight and sparring with the person? No. But I want you to have that in your mind. What are you going to do if somebody all of a sudden pulls out a knife? To me, my theory is if they have a knife and you don't have one, if you can't grab anything to even out the odds, use your legs against the knife because typically your leg limb is longer than their reach with the knife. Okay? I hope I don't have to test that out. But I've done the kick the knife out the hand thing in class. And I actually seen footage of people actually doing the kick the knife out the hand thing. You know the thing that people swear don't work. This swear doesn't work. Just like there are people who swear that I didn't slip that baseball bat that was coming at my head when I was a kid. I know. You just don't believe it. So that's why I put together what I do. Taekwondo, Judo with smidgens of Western boxing. So my advice to you, if you can't come to my class, is pick a primary style, pick a secondary style that complements the primary style, have a tertiary style that may address something that they both don't, and then after that, just be open-minded and learn from whomever and wherever you can. Now, one thing I want to close with is this. So you may think that what I'm doing is MMA with forms. And at one point, I was tempted to say, I may have even said a couple of times, I'm basically doing MMA with forms. But I'm really not doing MMA, and that's why I don't say I'm doing MMA. And I tell people I'm not doing MMA because to me, MMA, mixed martial arts, is not just a blending of styles. It has now become its own defined competition format. So when you say MMA, people think of the cage, they think of the octagon, they think of that particular rule set. And I don't teach that rule set. Not because I think it's bad or anything, because I don't know it. So I'm not going to teach what I don't know. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. Hey, so I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of the video. My name is Cecil Washington, the founder of Cecil Ryu Martial Arts and Cecil Ryu Taekwondo. Sign up for a class with me if you're in the PG area. And peace.